I meant to have this stream started way sooner. Enjoy Otter Nipple, everyone.
Excellent.
I started streaming before I had the window open so that my wallpaper was out.
What kind of mics do you guys use?
$1,000 Sennheiser shotgun microphone.
Jesus Christ!
And like a $300 Scarlett interface.
Yeah.
Marty we use the budget version of his mic, which is the Rode NT5 shotgun mic.
That still sounds way fancier. I've got like a blue Snowball, you know, like $60-$70 mic, something like that.
That's it? Wow.
I got the Blue Yeti.
I wasn't ready for the idea that professional YouTuber
my rig wall. If you could see my rig, it'd be like "Don't see how I live" type like shit.
I wasn't ready for the idea that Illusory Wall is still using a shotgun, still using a snowball.
Yup.
Do you talk in your videos?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. No, and I didn't even like my vocal audio is not very good, and most like my most recent videos are a little bit better because I like started EQing. Like I didn't even do like I don't know. I'm just like winging it. I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing ever.
I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing ever. 2.3 million views later on a Dark Souls Gravelord video.
At a certain point, don't people just start sending you shit in the mail?
No, well, I mean that happens.
You gotta have a PO box.
That sort yeah, I don't have a PO box set up, so that didn't happen. I did sort of get the hookup for like Elden Ring stuff, which was kind of cool. That was the first time that ever happened. So I got sent some stuff from
Just gotta nab like an AT2020 for a pretty significant leap. I used an AT2020 for the entire gap from the Snowball to the Sennheiser. And I still use the AT2020 as my second microphone every time I do anything with Stephanie. She's on the Sennheiser and I'm on the AT2020. And you probably didn't notice that much of a difference because no one should actually buy a Sennheiser for their Let's Play channel. That was stupid.
It sounds so good that I considered spending the money on it.
Don't look at your iffy. Don't look at your somewhat iffy co-op same room audio and be like, maybe the Game Grumps microphone will fix it. They do that. Like Game Grumps has editors.
EQ goes a long way, room treatment goes a long way, but like
EQ goes a long way. Yeah, I have more room treatment.
A lot of it's just the struggle of trying to make two people sound right and the same volume and not echoey, and 500 other issues of just that happen the moment two people are recording in the same room on two microphones.
Hey, you and Steph make it work. It sounds great.
Yeah,
it's gone wrong in a lot of ways until then. I had to keep changing in particular, I had to keep changing how I actually edit it in Audacity to actually process it because there was wrong answers. There's some real fucked up episodes of like Death Stranding.
Oh. Did you enjoy that game?
I enjoyed it as a thing to play for a series because it's an absurd, wild game, and it's stuck in my memory because it's also one of the only unique open world games. But it also pisses me off in several ways.
I'm just cleaning a few things up, and then I'm gonna switch some stuff over, and we should be good and ready to go.
Sounds good.
Cool.
One of the roughest things is that game's just like, that game has an atrocious story until it has very brief moments of being really neat. And it's noticeable how much the neat parts are all of the carefully animated expensive scenes, and all the atrocious parts are the part where the game just never shuts up and just keeps talking for dozens of hours straight. It's like, huh. See, when the pressure's on with the budget, suddenly they need to think about how they're telling the story instead of just monologuing forever.
For all the memery that goes on about that game's like dialogue being really goofy, I do think that despite the dialogue being goofy, that game does have pretty decent thematics. Like what they're saying sounds stupid, but like what they're meaning is like pretty cool. So like I guess
brought you a metaphor
for that, you know.
He brought you a metaphor and you're shitting all over it, Keith. Nice metaphor.
There's a lot of lines in that game that did psychic damage to Stephanie, and she hasn't recovered.
Oh, the Princess Peach shit.
See, I find that
like
stuff kind of cute.
I was just
like,
quoting the game. No, what's her name? The teleporting lady literally says, a fragile says, "I brought you a metaphor."
Oh,
That's a real line
That's a
in the
good
game.
line. That's a good line.
But
that was one of the best lines for dialogue.
But it hurts. It hurts. A lot of her lines are rough. Like, I'm fragile, but I'm not that fragile.
well, Kojima has partnered with David Lynch before, and it's kind of hard to believe.
All right, we're going live. 3, 2, 1. Hi everyone, we're going live. We're here. It's Cape Escape time. Finale time? Question mark.
Y'all ready to escape?
I don't know if we can.
Yeah, there's no escape anymore.
I feel like we've gone through like the true ending point of no return where the party is immolated to save the world. So that might be colored by the last hour of my life.
That's everyone's favorite kind of ending. The nihilistic kind.
Yeah. Annihilation.
Nah, Sandals is gonna make it out. He's prepared. He's ready.
So let's check in
I
on
believe him.
where we left them. Yeah, it might just be Sandals, only Survivor, Sole Survivor Sandals. It really rings off the tongue.
I believe that Sandals believes he will survive.
Sandals and Derek Jitters are about to create their own spin-off, the Supernatural season, just for themselves. I'm looking forward to it.
I believe much less that Derek will survive.
I was really, really worried about the fire spreading to the sheriff's office. Like, oh, we'll just lock him up in here. It's like,
We supposedly were confident that it would not, based on ambiguous topography.
No,
Sandals was
there's
very
also,
confident.
It's just sand. What the fuck is gonna catch on fire?
Gets everywhere.
if it gets windy. But yeah, no, the structures that were on fire seemed like they weren't close enough. So hopefully,
It is pretty humid with all the fog.
Yeah, as well. I mean, the other thing here is that it is genuinely difficult to spread fire in like an Old West town. Like that's one of the reasons why arson was not like the primary way that like, you know, people destroyed places back then.
It depends.
How would you know? I don't.
How would I know that? I
like...
love cowboy shit. I learn all about this stuff.
I love fire.
It feels like such an odd claim. Like, as the local expert, I'm well aware that the normal way to destroy a town in that era was not arson. Like, okay,
well,
what?
No, that was like a thing that like you would get small settle. It's not that it wasn't a way. It's
was
that
there a
you could
leaderboard topping series of ways people like to destroy towns back then?
No, what I'm saying is it was pretty common for like, for example, for farms, like for farmsteads to be lit on fire relatively close to settlements without endangering the settlements. So that's like how a lot of like old shootouts in like outlaws would like attack places because the fire wouldn't spread to the rest of the area. It would just burn down the place that they were targeting, and you didn't need to worry about it damaging other places.
How considerate of them.
This is the true secret behind Sandals, is that Toast was not role playing.
No, I just like cowboys. I like cowboys. Cowboys. People don't realize this about me. I like cowboy stuff. I'm like really into westerns and shit.
The premise of everyone's reactions is that people do not realize this about you.
It's true.
Everyone's like, "What's happening? Is this a bit?"
No, I like cowboy stuff, so I know a lot about the Old West.
All right, welcome to Cape Escape, everybody. That was an intro of sorts.
Welcome, we're here.
To Cape Escape.
So this cowboy town is not burning down, according to our expert opinion.
Not that we're there anymore. Maybe, who knows?
We might be above it, below it. Who knows? We entered a lighthouse.
A space between spaces.
Yeah.
We entered the chalk zone. Is actually what happened.
Inside the chalk zone.
He's got the chalk zone.
That is where we're going to take our intermission.
Oh no, he's hot.
That's Jet's first comment.
No, it's not Jet's comment.
Looking forward to the Sandals Iceberg forearm fanfiction. My favorite character trait: characters with multiple arms. Love that.
The
Sandals
ones, the
Toaster
child
does
ones?
really
The little
like
ones.
four-armed characters.
I do. I like having multiple arms is like the coolest thing. So I'm very happy about that.
I was kind of hoping Sandals was going to tell me I need to eat the mandrake itself. I was ready to just take a bite out of that thing.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I was gonna whatever he was gonna suggest I was gonna do, because I wanted to try to tap into that, but
This was fun. I'm back. I'm so excited about this. This is going so well so far.
Yeah. Did not go how I would expected, but I like it.
I got that impression.
We are off the rails firmly.
But you already had the handless sprite ready.
I got that done today.
Wow.
It's good shit. This is good shit.
yeah, hell yeah.
Full time.
We had
1,000
no idea what we were signing up for.
Not at all.
Oh, that was wonderful. And again, big shout out to SundaysPlayzone for doing all the character art for this. It was absolutely amazing. I managed to get last minute shit out of them as late as today.
Yeah, I was like, hang on a minute. These are going...
Incredible.
You did not... There's no way you planned some of this.
Yeah.
Just next level stuff.
When I took a panic walk the day before, like practically the day before this, being like, I really did nail down this fucking character. I have not had ideas. I did not expect throwaway details about a hat used for antisocial purposes and a crush on the organizer to turn into the fucking plot of the entire thing.
Hey man, it
And
happens,
that
right?
set the precedence for the entire session, the entire campaign from my perspective, where I just kept fucking winging it. I'm like, here we go. All right.
I mean, that's a lesson for everyone watching, right? If you want to get into tabletop, you want to learn how to play these games, you want to have fun, just fucking wing it. Like, this is how you do it. You just go for it.
If anything that Jet ever did sounded clever, I definitely made it up on the spot and was completely panicking. At the beginning of this session, I suddenly realized, oh shit, Jet's inspired by Rocket Raccoon. That's what he's been this entire time. And during the entire fucking like room with the mouth, my fucking heart was beating so fast because I was just like, I need to think of what to do. I need to get to the scene. I need to figure out. Did not have it planned. It's fun. This was a lot of fun. Just running purely on like what the character interprets things as and what he's running by. It's very interesting seeing Sandals and Jet butt heads for the entire campaign, both because they lived in different realities and because, especially at the end, Jet's entire lesson, like, it was insane to him that, like you could almost interpret on some level as being like, Sandals came here for this game and it was so disillusioned by how shit it was and how there was nothing like he wanted it to be, then found a deeper truth and a different game to play and started playing that and was so committed to that to the end. Meanwhile, the only times that Jet ever saw something like a rule get followed or a demand be honored, tragedy struck, and me not knowing what was happening and Jet not knowing what was happening, he became completely sure over the course of that scene that Melvin was inside the platter, which is why he's like, if you don't have to play this game, if you do it, you make it real. Like, that was his panic and spiraling was all tied to that idea.
So good.
If there's any lesson to take from this, it's that have faith, it will get better.
Also,
That's
if things are bad, just break all the rules. That's how we won. Jet was right. Jet was right the entire time.
Yep.
I couldn't have been the only person clipping the camera inside the plate, hoping like there was something bottled inside. I was just like,
you trying to sneak in?
I was right there with
I got a boundary break this shit.
Honestly, I was going to put it in there, but it went over the 100 megabyte limit for Sketchfab. So I had to cut it out into a second model.
Amazing.
Gotcha.
So,
Amazing.
what was that puzzle with that body?
The puzzle you fucking skipped, that was the construction of a rebus.
I knew that. I understood that immediately.
Yeah.
I was about to say that, and you all fucking skipped it. I was like, I have the solution.
There is almost no gag I like more than getting this overcomplicated thing that you need to try to unpack and then just fucking throwing it out the window because you found a solution.
Is that I fucking solved it out loud. I solved it out loud. And then you broke the table. I was like, this is Virgo.
Yeah.
This is, this thing. Here's how you do it. And then you just fucking tossed it.
Yeah.
I didn't even look at the alchemical symbols. I just knew this. I just knew what this was immediately.
Jet and Sandals are perfect for each other. They will never speak again.
Yes.
Oh, never.
I love it.
Jet I legitimately spent half of my character's stat points in that scene across the entire character.
Oh,
fucking
so good.
Ouroboros. I fucking knew it. You can check my fucking VOD. I never looked at the alchemical symbols. I read this puzzle and knew what it was asking for. And you all fucking skipped it. I solved the puzzle out loud and you skipped the puzzle. I was like, please let me.
So the answer to this puzzle was a little complicated because you had to finish the rebus before serving it. And
Jet was deaf to your frustration in his state of mind. But if he had been conscious of it, he would have been satisfied.
Sure. Yes, exactly.
So,
that's how it works.
Sandals, why don't you tell us, what are little girls made of?
Sugar, spice, and everything nice, baby.
And what are little boys made of?
What is the thing?
Something and
Puppy dog tails.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Nips and snails.
Nips and snails and puppy dog tails. That's what it is.
That's not good. That sounds like more bad news for Jet. I
fucking knew it. Oh, I was so ready. So to be fair, for this puzzle, I was about to cut out one of Jet's eyes. So that was one of the things that I was gonna do.
I don't. When you say stuff like that, and then you're like, Sandals did nothing wrong.
Sandals did nothing wrong. Sandals helped you get your little love story done.
Yeah,
and he was rooting for you the whole time. Be happy.
We finally.
I was ready.
Congratulations, everyone. We found out what happens if fucking Rocket meets Misty. It's a
Misty
horror.
Quigley, baby. Walter Tattersale. That's what we just got. Was the story.
Oh, so Sugar was on the table with the tea set. Spice was in the spice racks. Everything nice
were with the lobsters. Yep.
Everything nice is up to interpretation. Snips are actually small eels, and there was a piece of eel on the nigiri platter.
I knew it! I fucking knew it! Oh, I was so ready! Oh.
And then for the last ingredient, puppy dog tails, I prepared a very special sound effect.
No,
the fear and hunger sound! Ah!
No.
Well, we didn't get there. We skipped that puzzle.
Jet is always right.
We had a good time. We all had a good time here. This was a good time for everyone involved.
Ugh.
And the only other one of the props that you guys never got to see was the mayor's new hobby. If you had gone for the key in the mayor's office. He had an old 1992 Sears catalog in his desk.
Oh no!
Oh.
Yikes!
Amazing.
Could be ogling the ladies in the Victoria's Secret catalog. Sears catalog.
Oh, poor
you take the skin off
mayor.
and deserve the shabby treatment.
Nothing to go for but this.
That's pretty great.
Well, it happens. Well,
No.
I think I speak for everyone when I say this was Cape Escape. Thank you so much for watching. This was so much fun. We couldn't have done this without all the viewers, but most certainly we couldn't have done it without Ka. We couldn't have done it without all of our players, so thank you so much to all of the players. And I think, we don't have a timeline, we don't have a plan yet, but whatever this show is, we'll be back someday. Someday maybe in the future somewhat, not soon, but soon.
I'm
Maybe.
excited.
Yes. Hell yes.
So
This was insane.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching.
Also, the fucking incredible fan art. Oh my god.
Oh my god, there's
Oh
so
my
much
God.
good fan art.
Yeah.
Holy
Fan
crap,
art is
dude.
really good. Is really, really good.
I was not prepared for
I
any
can't-
of that. It's fantastic.
You're about to give Illusory a de facto persona when it gets too attached to all the Javier fan art that he has to just stick to it.
Yeah, I thought that was so funny. There was a comment on like one of our Zomboid sessions or something. And someone's like, I can only see Javier when Illusory speaks. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. I guess that's a thing now.
You're being assigned a persona like H-Bomb was.
Yes, people have become
That's funny.
very attached, right? Like people love Javi, people love Grayson, people love Manifesto in the comments.
Manifesto's-
It's been a real thing.
Manifesto is so good.
Everyone has survived and has graduated to the highest honor, which is to be a future NPC or background element in other stories.
The highest honor of a tabletop character to graduate to becoming a DM
Lore.
played NPC. Yeah.
Sandals loves lore. He gets to become it.
Sandals is very pleased to have survived this. So very good for everyone.
Oh.
All right, I'm sending everyone over to Radicoon. Radicoon is a fun raccoon who streams lots of games. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your evening. Thank you so much for watching Cape Escape, and we will see you all hopefully sometime soon? ? Have a nice time, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Goodbye.
Thank you, everyone, for coming to these streams. This has been a trip. If you're still watching my stream, I'm gonna bring up some of them fan arts. There have been animations.
Oh my gosh, the Earthbound
look at
inspired one,
this.
that was so cool.
This. Zoom in doesn't quite work. Look at this shit.
Part of me wants to make like a chiptune soundtrack to that clip. Like,
I love Javi's little face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was all so good.
The tiny mouse frown. Everyone has 5 HP and SP. Grayson has mystery. Oh, because he doesn't know numbers.
No, that's why.
He has question mark stats because he doesn't know numbers anymore. I wonder
That's
if
great
that.
attention to
I
detail.
wonder if that
love
ever came
Incredible
back.
stuff.
I just got that joke. Oh my god. Oh, that's the thing to scroll down to. All right, I'm gonna take this off the screen.
It took a few episodes for us to really get our feet into, I think, the setting and just the situation. Like, I think it took us a while to really, and I'm speaking for myself as well, like, it definitely took me a while to understand, like, who is Sandals? How does Sandals understand this situation?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
what are we doing? But when it started to get going, like, I started to really feel the magic. You know what I mean? And it was just, that was special, you know? And I
Yeah.
really want more of this. I'm so
oh, I know,
excited for it.
absolutely. I think for me, like the first moment of just like slicing the eyeball was just like, okay, like let me just start like making some more rash decisions and just like kind of jump right in.
And that was so impactful because I didn't know how long it would take for you guys to realize these things pop like so easily. I thought you would be afraid to interact with them at all for weeks.
That went quick.
No, that was good. I really, you know, I don't want to sit here and just talk about my own character the whole time. But I really enjoyed the the dynamic that we had of like Sandals buying into this situation very quickly and trying very scientifically to understand what was happening, and like having to compete with everyone else, and not just everyone else in terms of like, do what I want you to do, but in a like, listen, I know what is going on and you're not listening to me. So like I have to be underhanded to like get you to realize the reality of the situation that we are currently in. Like that was the most fun. Like with lack of a better word, that was like the most fun PvP I've ever had in a campaign.
a lot of this campaign was PvP.
Yeah, and it's like it's really hard to do that really well, but I feel like this campaign did a really excellent job of balancing like player against player motivation without it just being like I attack Grayson for 3 points of damage. Like, you know what I mean? Like
everything was so well balanced, and like again, this was my first tabletop RPG, but just like being somewhat familiar with the discourse and people talking about like
start.
I know, right? Like yeah, just jumped right. Actually, before I should mention, like when Keith kind of like invited me to like, hey, I think we're gonna be doing this thing at first. I was just kind of like, I haven't played any before, so I was like, I don't know. So I kind of said no at first,
yeah,
halfway, and then I was like, I'll think about it. And I think in during that same conversation, I was like, no, never mind. Actually, yeah, I'll do it.
The average person's first tabletop RPG experience is a group of friends getting in over their heads, and then a DM getting very pissed when everyone goes off rails, and then kind of taking their toys and going home when they realize how players actually interact, and then the players it falls apart like one session in.
No, I'm fully aware of just kind of how lucky I am, and just super appreciative of the whole thing. And like again, I've seen people talk about like, D&D kind of went off the rails, and it took like hours to get through this battle or whatever. And the flip side is like some people prefer just like improv only, like no mechanics at all. But it's like I love rolling the dice still. Like I like those.
Good.
It feels so fucking good.
Yeah, like I don't want to be. I this is not a critique of this system. I actually think Fear itself is really cool, and it enabled us to do a lot of cool things. Boy, I think for the next campaign we could go for some real dramatic dice rolls. Like every single time Manifesto rolled a fucking 6, I was like, go! Like I was so hyped off of it. Like.
That was the perfect balance that this whole thing had, is like it was just the perfect balance of roleplay and mechanics, where we got to do some dice rolling, but it never felt rote. It never felt like, oh yeah, okay, we're here's another creature we have to fight, and we're just gonna keep rolling until it dies. Like there are always interesting stakes and always interesting like scenarios happening, and it felt like whenever doing a dice roll, it felt important. So yeah, that was fantastic. I loved it.
Speaking of things that could have happened, I was talking with Khan in the background. It wasn't necessarily confirmed, but when Jet was consoling Javier in the medical tent, if he had rolled higher, I think Javier would have lost the ability to see the lighthouse.
Yep.
Oh shit! That would have
changed the game.
That was that was the implication of that move.
Holy shit!
Yeah,
that's incredible.
I really liked every single character's arc in this. Like Javi going from this like I'm not even supposed to be here today, like Dante from Clerk's character, to this like, no, listen, like Sandals, this is a bad spot to be in, and I'm with you, but also like there are people here we need to care about. Like that was I think a really fun and interesting dynamic. And the same thing goes for Grayson, right? Like Grayson came here to be a stickler on the rules and ended up in a weird way being like, actually, the rules both are what restricted us and what saved us. Like, that's really cool. Like, that's a cool character arc to be a part of, right?
That was such an amazing thing to pull out the last second. I'm like, I can't believe, like, this bureaucratic knowledge is going to save our asses. Like,
yeah, it's incredible.
I have to imagine that Ka set that up, hoping that we would find an opportunity.
Nope.
I had the idea in mind that they had something going on, like with the rules and things they had to obey, but I had completely forgotten that you had swiped a copy of the contract, and that was so exploitable.
As soon as you mentioned that, like, you still have the contract, and I gotta double check this thing, and like I was like putting my hand over my mouth and kind of like raising my fist in the air, being like, fuck yeah, let's go. Like,
yeah. When you said that, I sent a DM to Ka. I'm gonna read it out loud. I said, we have seen so many dead bodies. Sandals has been party to many crimes. None of these are TOS. Have we already broken the contract because of Jet? Jet attacked Margot. Can I spend my analysis point on this? And Ka, immediately after you rolled your like, hey, this contract says we can't have TOS breaking things, Ka messaged me back and said, yes, that works. Like, you were the person who did the campaign saving roll. Like, it was all Grayson. Yeah. Without that tee up, none of this would have happened.
300 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. That like cascaded too. And like, I think that's interesting because it plays to this idea of this campaign as a like, there's a bureaucracy here. There's a hierarchy. And the hierarchy thing is something I had talked to Ka about a few times in between sessions, was like, okay, we're operating on a reality, but we have this cosmic horror that has just appeared out of nowhere. Why did this cosmic horror appear? Who is this cosmic horror for? Do they exist on a higher level of reality? Well, yeah, they exist on a higher level of this like weird social chain that we participate in terms of like their viewers, right? Like viewers have a different culpability and responsibility with content than the people who create that content. And the people who create that content have a different culpability and responsibility to the people who own that content and license that content. And like it was interesting slowly over the course of this campaign, shifting my thinking away from how do I solve this puzzle to how do I solve the riddle that is modern like YouTube copyright like IP law. Like, and I think that we did a really good job of playing into that dynamic of like having that gimmick of like, we're interfacing with this reality, but it is also, it's not reality. It's this weird facade we're all buying into, like on purpose to be here and partake in this, which I think was a cool meta level of interaction that this campaign had over, I think, a lot of other campaigns. How did Javi, especially Manifesto, especially Illusory and McSkinny, how did you feel about your comfort level with like the role-playing aspect of this and like things as it went on? How did that evolve for you? Were you having a good time?
I mean, I'll say, yeah, I was having a blast. I mean, like, yeah, definitely, it's a bit awkward, you know? Like, and yeah. I think it'll always be a little awkward in some way, maybe. But I like, anytime things got more heated, it's easier to roleplay. I feel like,
yeah,
anytime, and you did a good job at feeding into that for me, because sometimes, like, when you were being kind of flippant about not seeing what we saw with the goggles, like not believing the ghost girl was there, I was like, oh no, like I'm just gonna sit here and argue with Sandals until I make this happen. Like,
yeah, sure.
You know, like, so those sort of situations, it's like, it's easier to sort of get into character if you're just pissed. So.
Oh, completely. I love that read because it's so true, right? Like, it's, and I mean this in like a like theater kid sense, right? But it's easier to act big emotions than it is small emotions.
Yes. Yeah.
And so like the more situations you have for conflict and drama, the more I think experience you can give to like, you know, I don't mean to infantilize you here, but like, you know, newer players or like people at your table who don't have, you know, the hundreds of hours of tabletop experience that your other players have, right? And I think people really enjoy that too. Like, that's part of the joy of tabletop, is finally being able to kind of in a lot of ways be like, no, like, fuck you, fuck your character, like this is my play, motherfucker. Roll a 6. Like, it's so awesome to have that enabled.
Yeah, it's actually why and it had no payoff whatsoever. There was no broader concept. It was just like a hollow action. But me trying to flirt with Maven was just like, I'm only doing this because I kind of like, in that same episode, maybe, I don't know if I'm getting mixed up a little bit, but like, I kind of liked arguing with you a little bit. I was just like, if I can create some tension, just because I want to see the Sandals show. And I was just like...
That was so fun.
So I was just like, I conceived Javier as gay, but I was just kind of like, I guess he's bi now or something. I don't know what I'm doing here. I just like, it was just like a throwaway move just to like feel like this is kind of funny, just because if I can piss off Sandals, maybe, you know.
A lot of tabletop RPG suddenly makes a lot more sense once the characters come in conflict with each other, and you're like, oh, I get how to play a character now. Here we go.
Yeah. I think this is actually a fun topic. You know, you said you conceptualized Javi as gay. I think a lot of people, Manifesto clued into this in like a fun way where he was like, I thought you were a homosexual. Like, that's like a perfect line for Sandals. I'm really glad that McSkinny said that, because Kaw and I were talking about Sandals' character before this whole thing started. And I was like, Sandals is very explicitly like not gay. Like, he's not me. Like, Sandals is a very different person than me. And I'm playing him as a really different person than me. And like, Kaw can pull this out of the DMs if he wants, but I was like, Sandals is nobody's boyfriend. Sandals is like the trainer boyfriend. He's the character that that wants to be dating people and wants to be picked on the playground and wants to have friends, but is always the last person in the group to be part of the friend group, and the person who everyone else forgets, and who doesn't have that charisma, even when he thinks he might.
Is he
so
bothering you, lady?
Yeah, I wouldn't even go so far as to say he is like, you know, that level of like nice guy, but he is like just very much not charming. And he's I mean this in a endearing way, but Sandals is a very, in his day-to-day, which we did not get to see in this campaign, like Sandals is a forgettable person. And that was part of his curse. That was part of his backstory, was like, Sandals is defined by his relationships to other people. That was how I was playing him this entire campaign. Like, Sandals immediately, right away, was like, Jet is the main character. I am the person helping Jet get to the end of his story. Maven is the love interest. I am the character playing into whatever Maven is. Iceberg is the detective. I'm his rival. That is how I played Sandals, and that was like the core concept of his idea. So having a character argue against that was fun, because it gave me that ability to then play up what Sandals actually was.
Yeah,
and I think
that entire time, Jet was like, why is the most upsetting person that I've met staring at me all the time?
Yeah, no, exactly. And like Sandals, I think, is a very scary character, and one that I think a lot of people misread, but like in a way that I feel really positive about, because I misled them on purpose to misread him, right? Like, Sandals at the end of the day is a young man who grew up in the shadow of his dead sister. His family always mourned this ghost that was the sister he never had, right? Like, she was a girl that literally died before he was born. And he was this sister who he always like went to the graveyard to say like, it's been another year, sis. I never got to meet you, but like, hope you're doing well out there. And she's this baggage that he's carrying this whole time, and like all the stories about his hometown are about her, not him. All of his interests are influenced by this desire to be interested in the fiction of what happened, not the true crime of what happened. That's what started the schism between him and Iceberg. And why he was so angry and resentful towards Iceberg was this idea of like, you exploit the pain that people who feel things that are affected by these things feel for views, and I'm out here having fun playing with stories. And I think the fun thing with Sandals was swapping that and being like, I'm here to understand the truth of the story that is being told to people, but is actually a true story that I should not exploit, I should empower. And that was his arc. And as part of that was a very big shift towards this idea of, okay, how do I play up this role of everyone thinking Sandals is like this horrible, person? People were saying, like, as Jet said, like, Jet thought Sandals was a school shooter. People thought Sandals was like a murderer. Sandals dosed this overworked person with like club drugs and set fire to this thing. But in reality, it was all, and I'm not saying that wasn't reckless behavior. Sandals is not an angel, but all of this was framed in the concept of like, how do I turn this horrible event, this horrible, oppressive life that Jet is living, that all these cameras are trying to exploit, into an empowering narrative about him, so that we don't need to go through this tragedy that Sandals' family felt, losing a daughter for no reason.
And the answer you landed on was melt all of his dildos.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in a serious way, like, no, you can't hide. You need to take what you want. You need to play your part in the story. This is your story. You can't step back from it. Like, you need to play your part, and you need to go out there, and it's going to be uncomfortable, and there's going to be scenes you don't like, and there's going to be pain and trauma, but you need to get out of your comfort zone and do the scary thing, because if you don't, you're going to lose everything. And the people will mine you for their theories and for their ideas of what they'll have. But it's not their story to tell, it's yours. So fucking tell it and stop being a coward. And that was the idea. I was a little surprised that
Sandal never tried to make an emotional play with the photo on Jet.
No.
Admittedly, Jet would have clocked him.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think Sandals the whole time. I've talked to Ka about this actually. Is that like Sandals is scared of Jet. There are many different realities in this situation where Sandals would have tried to attack Jet or tried to hurt Jet, but the core of all of this was that Sandals trusted Jet, which is a weird thing to say because Jet was the one who was lying and hiding through a mission. So many different aspects of this story that Sandals clued into very quickly, but Sandals, I think, realized very early, I think it was session 3 maybe, Ka, where I messaged you and I was like, oh, this is all about Jet, like this is his story. And
I don't think Jet ever lied in the entire campaign.
Yeah, sure.
It's just information that Jet had either repressed or just should have known but did not.
Yeah, and I think Sandals clued into that as someone who had experienced pain and this burden of hiding a story and keeping it underneath, this exploitative perspective. I think in a lot of ways Sandals empathized with Jet, but knew in a lot of ways Jet needed to do what Sandals couldn't, which was just tell the fucking story he wanted to tell, that he wanted to be real. And that was what was driving him, with this lighthouse, with this fascination that he had been experiencing, with this interesting curiosity that he felt towards everything. He knew, I think it was session 5, 3 sessions ago, that I messaged Ka and I said, the viewers are here because of Jet.
Yep.
And
Ka will be right back.
It's an interesting dynamic. We're going into this, even before I knew what the plot was going to be or what the horror was. I just decided that Jet's a people person. He's good with his coworkers and everyone. He hates the players of this contest.
Yeah.
Which, fully enough, meant that he ended up with a driving stat and a flattery stat and other things that do not come into play at all in this scenario, because all the people and scenarios that those would have come up when just never happened.
This was good. I think that was fun though, because we had a lot of stuff banked to use towards the end. I think it was Javi and I that probably used the most of our skill points. Maybe Manifesto as well towards the end.
From like the abilities side, I used almost all of them. Urban Exploration had a couple points left. Photography had 1, but technically I did take pictures of the lighthouse earlier and that kind of spooked me out. So I kind of, in my head, I realized I actually spent that there. And I only had 1 left in bullshit. So yeah, I had 1 point in bullshit and 2 points in urban exploration. Everything else was spent.
I had 7 fitness and I spent all of it. Mostly in that scene. I just blew the entire bar.
Oh, but yeah, I wanted to commend McSkinny on your performance of Manifesto.
Fan favorite, right?
Oh, holy shit! If we do more of these, I'm just kind of secretly hoping every character you do is like a himbo of some kind or whatever, just because you're your ability to like say something that's like stupid but in a very witty and quick
profound way.
Yeah, just like a special ability to say the right dumb thing every time, and I'm like, hell yeah.
This is so good.
I'm used to, I mean, that's how I kind of got into like choice and consequence writing, is that I started with like role playing. I was like a big RPer, like on the World of Warcraft servers, Elder Scrolls Online, that kind of thing. And that's how I eventually got into Echo. But I realized that a lot of times when you're RPing and such with other people, they just want to hear about their characters, and kind of like you want to hype them up and kind of focus on things they may have thought about. And I pretty realized like Jet and Sandals are definitely the most relevant characters to the story. So I was like, I'm pretty happy playing the role as just the strong man who has all the scuffling points, who tries to like keep people safe and just says something funny. But it was pretty fun.
That's great stuff. I'm so excited to see another campaign. I mean, like, I think in the next campaign,
it's thematic too.
Yeah,
because he'd make a living selling other people's hits.
Yeah, exactly. It's so good. That's what I was about to say, is like, I want to see the campaign from Manifesto's perspective, right? Like, I want to see what he's viewing. I want to play a character who is there as the hype man for Manifesto and not the other way around, right? Like, that's so exciting to me, and I'm
he
curious.
Didn't really have an arc. It was like that's kind of why I gave him the ending they did, where he's back where he was and he was in limbo about deciding whether or not to release the footage. Or he was hesitating a bit, but everyone else kind of had like a growing moment, but Manifesto never learned not to, to take advantage of this kind of situation. His life didn't get better, he didn't get his family back. So he's kind of on the cusp still. He exited that game with stability of 2.
Yeah, no, I feel like Javier's borderline on a path to like needing an intervention at some point, but he'll be okay in the long run, just because of a sort of like unhealthy obsession with this other, dimensional space.
We'll see how Cape Escape Season 2 plays out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's up to Ka if he wants to revisit it, or he could do something else.
So you guys did very well in terms of health and stability. You only dipped down under 0 for stability for a few people, and only for a couple minutes before getting a shrink to get you back up. I had lights set up on each of your tokens to have like flashing indicators of who's fucked up and by how much, and they just never came up.
It's amazing.
It's cool. It's like a blacklight effect.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I have to say, I have never been more glad at like understanding a campaign's most essential stat than I was when I put 20 points in stability.
Preparedness, Jesus fuck.
Preparedness was so good.
Preparedness.
Oh, fucking huge ups to preparedness. That came in so handy. So many times. It was so good.
You should definitely put all of your points into driving.
Yeah, same. I was like, yeah, we're gonna do driving, gonna get the fuck out of there. Everyone's gonna be like, Manifesto, you saved us. Like, thanks.
Everyone just decided, no, the cars aren't the way to go.
We're about to fight over the wheel. Like, no, I want to use my character. No, I want to use my character for driving. It's our only chance.
Suggested like 3 times to go to the Teslas.
I assume there weren't like beast versions of us.
That was something that I wanted to have done ad hoc if you ended a session and had accepted one of the viewers' boons while below 0 stability.
What would you have in mind for the boon, or for those for us? Like, what was going to be our transformations?
It would have been entirely contextual based on how you were freaking out at the time.
Oh, man.
And then I would have had them drawn up and ready for next week.
I had DM'd Ka about like what would happen to a corrupted Javier, so I was already thinking about that too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had a backup plan if I died.
Was I the only one not DMing Ka this whole time?
You should have been DMing Ka this whole time.
That's how you get the weird shit worked in the background to exploit.
Yeah.
I did not DM Com much. There was moments where it's actually more him asking me questions, like what's Jet's last name and things like that, to resolve things.
You asked me, did Manifesto have a cell phone still? And I said, yes. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
It turned out to actually
It
But
was
no,
very
the
helpful.
majority of me DMing Ka was DMing him in the middle of games, like during the kiss. I messaged him that I told him that he's gonna have to do it. Jet's not gonna do it.
And I liked how that played out because that helped with Melvin's arc, where he realized he needed to step up and make up for the things he's been ignoring.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think-
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think DMing, this is something that is really important to tabletop in general, but like tabletop is like collaborative storytelling. But a lot of people who don't play tabletop get the perspective that like the only tabletop that is pure and good and right is like the improv in the moment. But like it's collaborative storytelling. Like the idea is to communicate with your DM and like talk about what you're interested in and your arcs and like what your character's thinking. When I say I DM'd Ka, it was not me saying like this is what's gonna happen. It was me telling Ka like this is where Sandals is at. Like he thinks this is what is going on. I don't know if this is true, but like that's the perspective I'm going to play the next episode of the game from. Let me know if there's anything else I should be aware of, like if there's something that he reasonably would have understood at this point. If Sandals thinks X, like does it make sense reasonably Y and Z that he would believe this or that? That is a lot, I think, of what the tabletop experience is. And when I talk to my friends who play a lot of tabletop, they're always telling me like, yeah, I had a session this week. Like I didn't even meet with my DM. I met with my other players and we just talked about our characters and like where they were at and like what their relationships were. And that's like, it's so powerful and it enables such better storytelling because you're able to tee people up for like, not even cool moments, but like meaningful moments. And that is where you unlock the drama of the tabletop session.
I had a really funny bad end pitch for Goose.
No.
Yeah, so because again, like it's the sort of thing where like if I get a random idea, it's kind of like with Mikey falling in the well. It's like, oh no, this doesn't have to happen, but if I just get like a visceral image in my head or just like something gets stuck in my head, I'm like, oh, I'll just send the idea to Kyle. Like you can work with that if something comes up. So my whole idea was like if we went back to the sheriff's office and Kyle wanted something like bad to have happened while we were gone, what I pictured in my head was we were only gonna find Derek at first, and we were like, where's Goose? And then he was gonna have just a plushie of Goose, like a normal sized plushie of Goose with him. He would have fully transformed to a plushie off camera, basically.
Goose must live.
It would have been like a weird, horrible, creepy, like I don't know, like Twilight Zone kind of thing, I guess.
One idea I was floating around was at some point, if you guys get pinned by one of the monsters outside and it's looking grim, up rolls Goose with Derek integrated inside of him, piloting him.
Oh, no, it would have been so
Oh
sad.
yeah, hell yeah.
Gooser and Lagan almost became canon. Oh my god.
Amazing.
So this was the other puzzle that I ended up not fleshing out since you guys didn't went there. The only ideas I had written down was hunting lodge with a hunter's journal whose clues are related to Nicolas Cage films. It's the Rage Cage.
Oh damn! Oh fuck! I wish we did that. God damn it!
And all the taxidermy starts Evil Dead coming alive as you guys are doing it.
Oh,
hell
no.
yeah! Hell yeah! That's
Like
fantastic.
for reals, or just as part of the initial escape room element?
Sorry, what was that?
Was it like for real the taxidermy, or was it like animatronics?
I think it was supposed to be for real taxidermy, but like the viewers were gonna start fucking with it to make it more interesting.
That reminds me. Yeah, I wanted to ask. So, when shit started to finally hit the fan, and we went to the chapel and found Secret Passage.
Yeah.
How cool was that for a transition moment?
Well,
Like
first
a,
of all, yeah,
a thematic transition going through that fucking passage and having that be when everything's changed outside.
and getting to do an incredible puzzle. But I wanted to ask Ka, we like heard something outside. If we like went outside to confront it, like, did you have a specific monster version of Dave going to be outside? Like,
I had Dave and Kurgan right outside.
Okay.
Because the howling.
Yep.
Oh, that would have been a hard combat encounter without Maven there.
They were
man.
actually going to start breaking through, but Manifesto drug one of the pews in front to block the door.
That was good shit. That was good shit.
I was thinking about that the other night. I was like, what the hell like was actually out there? Awesome.
That's
Then
great.
here was the greenhouse behind the hunting lodge, which would have been sort of an extension of that puzzle. And if you guys had explored that post-corruption, that's where you would have found Kurgan.
So who won the deed to the town?
Who all took a Tesla?
Grayson got a Tesla.
Grayson
Grayson got
owns the
NordVPN?
town?
NordVPN.
So the question then is, which of the cars was thematically related to the town? Was it NordVPN? Was it Monster? Was it Bad Dragon? The world may never know.
Turns out it was actually HelloFresh.
Yes.
Yeah, HelloFresh.
But no, it wasn't in the NordVPN car, unfortunately.
The Raid Shadow Legends car is the one that would have given you the deed to the town.
I mean, Mr. Man went to jail over this, so I kind of feel like probably the contract was, I don't know if...
Probably would not have held up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I don't know if anyone's gonna really own the town after the people are going to jail.
It was clearly in the Soylent car.
Oh, the Huel car.
So this is if you had followed Mikey when he freaked out about his mom disappearing. This was the outhouse she was last seen in.
And what would we have found inside?
Only her
You
purse.
don't want to go inside.
That's upsetting.
It's like,
I don't
Mikey,
like
she fell in.
The fear and hunger poop tunnel.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, we got a train.
We got fungered down under.
Guys. Like, I think we gotta go in.
And then if you had actually just gotten in a car and left, here's the highway. Only a couple miles away.
If we just left.
Yeah.
If we just left,
You
Grayson tried to
honestly
suggest.
could have just left.
No,
you would have had
worked. No
you
way.
would have had
0%
trouble.
chance.
You would have had trouble getting into and starting the Teslas, but Jet's truck was there. Maven's hearse was there.
Grayson's car.
Grayson's car. Manifesto.
Bad
Did
for
you?
Grayson. He brought that up, and then everyone sandbagged him.
Yeah, no, I immediately objected, being like, the world's gonna end. So we gotta stay. Yeah.
Manifesto. Did you drive your PT Cruiser here, or did you fly?
He drove his little PT Cruiser, so that was in the parking lot.
Yeah.
With near the. I imagine it was in the fleet area where everything else, where all the cars were parked.
Yeah. Just
I guess using
stinking up all the Teslas with that PT Cruiser stank.
I think
Barely
trying to leave would have been a really bad idea, but it's like we could have gotten in the car and tried using it as a weapon to run over some monsters.
Oh,
It was
absolutely.
fun. Just
That's
everyone
pretty
in
good.
cars, and you just have Maven in her fucking hearse running people down. Mad Maxing.
would've
We
been
turn
so
it into
good.
Twisted Metal, and you just start spending all those driving points you saved up.
So I have one question, and it's
Uh-huh.
were there any character concepts that people had that never really came to light here? Sandals has like one big one that never came up that is pretty, I think, fun, but I'm curious about everyone else.
Oh, definitely not. Did the bare minimum of character creation. I put some thought into Javier's background, but like no, it was not that fleshed out. So
Yeah,
So-
I mean, I was like, if Manifesto had a break or something, I was fully expecting like Ka to just have like manifestations of like his wife and family and that kind of thing, and his own emasculation as a person, and the fact that he's not really a luchador, and he's just like a wannabe content creator who reviews toys on Instagram.
Man, if you gotten under zero stability, that absolutely would have happened. And I didn't have like a sprite for your wife and child, so I would have just like copied you, made you smaller and transparent, and just have you talking to like little ghost versions.
That's
Manifesto with a wig.
Yeah.
So the piece of Sandals' backstory that never came up is just that Sandals was not invited to Cape Escape. Sandals bought a ticket off of eBay. And pretended to be here as an invitee. So basically, there was the background, if you all remember, that someone would win a ticket. The other person who seemingly won their ticket was Bellamy, I believe. Sandals bought the other one ticket off of the other person who had won and opted out of the contest. And so he showed up saying he was invited, but really his channel was too small time for all of this, which was a big key part of his backstory with Iceberg and with the rest of the content creators, and why he knew everyone else, but not many people were familiar with him, because Sandals is a little bit too small time, but he had a lot of confidence in himself, and he thought that he deserved to be here, so he paid an exorbitant amount of money, probably $3,000, $4,000 for his ticket to EscapeCon.
Holy cow. That's such an amazing detail.
Yeah, I even worked out that, so this is a piece of the backstory that never came in, but I was talking to Ka about how the badges were differentiated, and Ka was like, oh, they're like color coded, and I was like, Sandals brought blue painter's tape to paint over, to like tape over his badge, so that at a like not close glance no one would notice that he didn't have the invitee badge, that he had the contest winner badge.
Jed is a talented rigger, by which I mean lights, not Shibari. And just mechanically inclined in general. He had several points into driving and mechanics that did not come up, because that's the type of stuff that he's actually up to normally. He's actually not good with a camera.
I think the only thing for Grayson that I had come up with that didn't make it was an idea for how he could become corrupted. Basically, along the lines of a rogue AI, the only way to keep people safe is for there to be no people left.
Oh, interesting.
It's like, I don't know how that would come to pass, but that might be fun to play.
Javier's corrupted form was going to be very not monster looking. My idea that I was pitching to Kaz, like, if I die, just like make it insultingly gory, like almost disrespectful for a DM to be like, okay, the monster smashes your head into the ground, your skull's crushed, your eyeball pops out. I was like, go for it. Like, it could be like incredibly brutal. And but when I returned,
very issue 100.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I wanted it to be gross and body horror. But when I returned, I just wanted to look normal and not like a monster, to just be very dissonant. For it's like, okay, obviously something's wrong because you just saw my body get destroyed at some point earlier.
Yeah.
But he was going to be someone who saw the other side, and is going to be very From Beyond, if anyone's seen that. I would be the Dr. Pretorius character trying to talk you guys and being like, it's beautiful, come join me type of thing. So that was sort of what I had in my head, was like, I've seen the origin of the universe, I've seen things you can't possibly understand, and I won't be able to explain it to you verbally, so you know.
Event Horizon.
Yeah, exactly.
Good shit.
Exactly. Yeah, it was going to be an Event Horizon From Beyond kind of guy.
The corrupted Sandals idea was that he would become the Masky, the To the Arc, the proxy character in all of the Slender Man and deep net horror ARGs, the character that does the bidding of the eldritch horror, but is still human, that sort of creature, the person who understands things beyond the scope of everyone else and is acting completely irrelevant to their morals or their perspectives. So that there definitely was some similarities there between Sandals and Javi, and I think that's the interesting part about their interesting connection over the course of this campaign, is that I think that Javi and Sandals actually come from a very similar place in that perspective.
Mm-hmm. Actually, someone in the chat had a question for Ka, so I just want to forward that.
Yeah.
He said, Yo, Ka, I'm curious, how did you think this was going to end going into this last session?
I expected full villain mode Sandals, 100%. And in fact, that was one of the reasons I wanted to save Iceberg for the end, because if Sandals was going down that villain path, I wanted Iceberg to embrace him when they finally met. and reveal the truth that he had glimpsed through his new powers, that Sandals is the most dangerous one here, and just keep tightening that hug until he crushes you.
Yeah. I think I was glad that my stability was over half. I stayed at stability 11 on purpose because I was like, if I'm even at the halfway point, Ka's gonna pull some shit. Like, there's no way. So I very deliberately stayed over that halfway point for me because I was like, I want Sandals to play out as the hero no one likes. It was like the idea behind Sandals and how I was playing him this session. So.
Hell yeah.
Being able to be that. So actually, let's talk about this. My character inspirations, obviously, were Misty Quigley from Yellow Jackets, Walter Tattersall from Yellow Jackets, a very recent show, so I understand most people won't know those references. But I also thought a lot about characters that are like portrayed to be right but wrong at the same time in their stories. And the big one was Ozymandias from Watchmen. Because he is a monstrously terrible person who, in some sense, does save the day, but in a way that is horrific. But the circumstances of that horror are so context defining that it is hard to perceive a different perspective on how things played out. And so like that was my idea behind Sandals, was like, what if this person who burns down a town, who drugs this assistant, who does these bad things, does all of the right things in context that are the wrong things out of context, and gets like, you can do all the right things and get the wrong consequences out of them personally, even if you're saving the world. And I wanted that to be the character that I was playing. So I went for that super hard. And I'm so glad that it worked out, because I think it shifted it. That was like what helped shift the perspective onto Jet and onto Melvin. Because like, if the story literally was just like Sandals solves the problem and understands the viewers and then outplays them, like, that's so unsatisfying, because Sandals is like such a dangerous, risky, terrifying person, but hedging all of the horrible things that he does in this arc of making Jet's story come to completion makes it more relatable and more appreciable, if that makes sense. And I was really glad to be able to pay that off.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
As per consistent character, I had not planned out Jet's corruption, but as he was losing his mind and approaching zero, he was regressing into a child, and his trauma tied to whatever happened in Cape Escape originally, in Cape Karma. And so I think what would have ultimately happened is what happened when he was a kid was going to come out again. And he was probably going to pursue Melvin to the ends of the earth and not remember why.
Yeah.
I like that.
I guess
so we have
If
nothing,
he's from the
because
90s,
we
he'd
have
be like astonished at all the revelations and new technology of the modern day. He's like, "What's a VR headset?"
we have still not.
Well, this is something
we came away ultimately not
about.
resolving what happened in Cape Karma.
Yeah.
So
well, that was one of my
tune back
questions.
in for the tobacco room.
Yeah. Well, that was part
the
of my
Throat
thing,
Lodge.
right?
The Throat Lodge.
Exactly.
The Throat
It's like-
Lodge is the prequel.
we got all of these weird clues, right? Like we had the clue about the mafia might have been using this town to like smuggle people in and out and to bury bodies and like hide their, like there was some sort of mafia influence here. There was a lighthouse at one point until there wasn't. There was all this weird time shenanigans going on. Like we have so much to mine there with that. I think that we have, but it doesn't feel contrived. It's not like these are like threads we dropped. These are like genuine things to explore. So I'm excited to see if Kai ever wants to revisit that stuff.
I don't remember if this was ever made explicit, or not. I think elements of it were, at least. But Jet was orphaned and grew up with Melvin.
Yeah.
And he, true to character, doesn't know.
I did want to ask Ka too, the flavor of the setup with like time being weird inside the lighthouse.
Mm-hmm.
I was curious if that was just like flavor or if there was some mechanical risk of time being weird in there.
Mostly flavor, but also if you had attempted to leave, you would have essentially Super Mario 64 Bowser stairs.
Gotcha.
Oh, just forever,
Interesting.
Yeah, because I had it in my head the picture of like, okay, what's the worst case scenario of time being fucked up in here? And I had like a time dilation, like we're gonna defeat the lighthouse, but we're gonna pop out and it's gonna be the year like 2500, and we're fine.
Yeah.
At least from what we knew so far, it was the opposite, which is that time wasn't progressing because we tried sleeping overnight and then realized the clock still said it was like 10 p.m. or something.
Yeah.
Part of me was worried, like, if like the lighthouse was like, once we got inside it, if it was like a pocket dimension thing where it's like it's closer to a black hole or something, so now we're moving really fast, and it's like, oh shit.
Yeah. I was worried that basically everything we were doing was going to end up like, you know, time dilated to the point of not mattering. Like by the time we exit, like everyone who was ever here was like, oh, we didn't know you just disappeared. You walked out and the town burned down, and then 300 years later, like, or like 60 years later, you know, like you just appeared and now you have to deal with that. Like that's what I was thinking was happening there. So that's why Sandals immediately was like, this is, for all intents and purposes, we have left reality behind. This is a dream, you know?
Would we have played the characters if they were corrupted? Oh, absolutely.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been so much fun.
That would have been fun.
Sandals would have fucking loved to do that. I would have loved to play a Sandals that was explicitly villainous. I messaged Caw and Manifesto, McSkinny, earlier today, and I said, if things go south, like Sandals is fully prepared to cut the eyes right out of Jet's head. And I was fully prepared. I am equipped with a scalpel. It is on my character sheet.
Deeply upsetting. Jet was right about everything.
I mean, if we were running out of options, you know, if there were no more viewers, or if we needed to have a viewer see something, you know, like presently go wrong or inappropriate. Like, I was wondering about the mechanics of how Jet's eyes worked as viewers. So part of me was just thinking, like, maybe we need to like pop one out of there.
Yeah.
And Jet will go on having never learned. Still having no idea what you're talking about. not on any feasible level.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think that's part of it too, is like Sandals was very ready to Sandals was very ready to force Jet. I mean, like, again, as I said, Sandals is not a perfect person. He is a very flawed ferret, obviously, but he was going to go to any length to find closure for this story, and if that meant forcing Jet uncomfortably, like, out of the closet to become, you know, to make this romance come to fruition, like, he would have done it. And if that meant cutting an eyeball out of Jet's eyes so that he could see out of his skull, so that he could see Melvin looking at him for the first time in his life for who he actually was, Sandals would have fully fucking done it, and he would have asked Javi and Manifesto to hold Jet down so he could have fucking Ludovico techniqued him. Like, he would have cut those eyeballs out of his skull.
Deeply upsetting image.
I would have helped 1000%.
When you learn that the rest of the party is on board for holding you down and removing your
all right,
I don't think
PvP
Manifesto would have sided with that. I think he'd be like, no, we're finding a different way.
This is very safe.
If that happened after Jet asked Manifesto to help him battering ram the table, Manifesto would have had some really conflicted feelings at that point, having not done that.
Well, I mean, what I'm saying here is that, like, Sandals had a goal, and he would have done his best to achieve that goal, and he would have been convinced that it would have been for the betterment of everyone, and maybe it would have. But I think with this whole Jet thing, the thing that was taunting me was the fact that Iceberg had, like, what looked like honey bleeding from his eyes. Mm-hmm. And I was so close to asking if Iceberg had cut his eyes out, and that's why he hadn't fully corrupted. because I was so close to then turning on Jet and saying those eyes have to go if you want to keep living. Like I was so close to cutting your eyes out.
So Grayson MVP.
Grayson MVP,
Grayson
absolutely.
Grayson saved the fucking
Sandals
day.
is about to get himself thrown in the well.
Yeah,
That would have
I did
ended it
know
because
that.
Iceberg would have gone in after him, and that's 2 promises fulfilled.
Aww,
Yeah.
romantic.
I liked Iceberg and Sandals' relationship by the end. I liked that they were these like frenemies who respected each other. I really like that as a trope, and I was very happy to see that come to fruition.
I have one specific regret. This is very, very specific and so dumb. But I regret not DMing Toaster on Discord. The part where I tried to have you put the goggles on, and then like I just put them on and got you to understand that like, you know, the ghost was there.
Yeah.
You did agree to put them on, but just kind of like didn't look around that seriously and took them back off. But like I wanted you to refuse to put them on, and I was ready to go full They Live. Like I wanted to roll the scuffle.
You're gonna fight it out.
Yeah,
we're gonna have the 5-minute
Yeah.
back alley Keith David fight.
100%.
So good.
Yeah, I wanted to fight you to put the goggles on. I don't know why I didn't DM you to be like, hey, dude, like just like don't like.
Yeah. I'm
There
really
was
happy
one
with the
throw-
way.
There was
go on, sorry.
there was just like a throwaway comment that happened that didn't pan out, but when Jet said that we've been looking for him all day, looking for Melvin, I had already I'd quickly DM'd Ka, and I was like, I think Jet's been here for hours.
Yeah.
Like they're talking like they just got here, but Jet's been here for hours, and I was thinking like maybe he's been here in his dreams continually, like this has been a place throughout his life. So for him, it's like this has become an all day ordeal, and then for you guys, you guys keep like resetting essentially.
Yeah. That was something that I was starting to pick up on pretty quickly, and I was curious if that was how that was going to play out. Min in the chat says Sandals was so much angrier than Iceberg and felt like everything Sandals was saying about Iceberg was him projecting onto him. I think it's a little bit of a half and half. In the backstory, Iceberg and Sandals were very close for a while, and they worked on projects together. Iceberg did a shift towards true crime, and then when Sandals, it was as a result of Sandals talking about this horrible, like the background story for Sandals was that he was investigating this urban legend that he didn't realize was his own family, only to then learn that this urban legend in his town that he thought was a fun story was actually the story of his dead sister who had been haunting him his entire life and had been this shadow that was living over him. And that was when he realized that stories have consequences and that things are bad and that it can hurt people, and that these things that we're making these like fun stories out of actually have a root in truth. And the truth of the world is that it's very cruel and sad and unfair. When Sandals shared that with Iceberg as part of this like content creation thing that he had done with Iceberg for these many years, Iceberg then quickly switching over to true crime broke their trust and created this fundamental schism between them as characters that Sandals never forgave him for. The truth of this relationship is that Iceberg and Sandals are actually very good friends that really trust each other and care about each other, but they have this horrible drama between them that they like refuse to acknowledge and forgive each other for, even though it like ultimately is something that they never covered. And that was what the last conversation there was like kind of signifying, was that like Iceberg knew all about Bullet and everything that had happened with Sandal's sister and never published anything about it. He had kept it to himself because he had the honor and the self-respect and the understanding to realize that like some of these stories aren't for mining. Now Sandals still probably was mad at him about like exploiting what Sandals thought was exploiting other people's trauma and their sadness and their bad stories for views on YouTube. Iceberg still had the restraint and the honor to not air this footage, like to not make an expose of like, here's the real story behind this ghost story. Like this girl fucking died and it sucked. Like he had the honor to not do that. So that's where their reconciliation comes from in the end, is this idea that Sandals was maybe even unfairly holding stuff against Iceberg, but ultimately still respected him because Iceberg didn't actually break that trust between them.
I like that he was set up as like a rival, but wound up being like alongside Maven as like the most important like hero, like NPC, you know?
I can't believe
Definitely.
Sandals Molotov cocktailing Jets dildo collection has fan art now.
It's good stuff. Min follows up to say, what I meant more was that Sandals was saying something along the lines of he's devious. Once he gets his teeth into a story, he never stops chasing it, while Sandals was embodying those words. Yeah, I mean, I think that's Sandals' arc, right? Is learning that these stories can be turned into something meaningful that isn't just misery porn, right? Like, Sandals caught wind that this was a story about Jet and was approaching it like he was writing a narrative, like a 3-act structure, you know, like a James Cameron making a biopic about something. He was trying to, this was his Oppenheimer, right? Like he was telling a story, but he was trying to empower Jet rather than focus on the misery. And I think that was when he realized that Iceberg wasn't the villain he was making him out to be. And that's how they reconciled ultimately.
Both Jet and Sandals were projecting onto Iceberg. Sandals described Iceberg while actually describing himself, and then fucking Jet's like shipping was actually just projecting.
Yeah.
But for the fan artists out there, I would like to say, you know, whatever feelings between Sandals and Iceberg you want to read into, feel free. But Sandals
Also,
was
Jet's a bottom.
truly Sandals was truly into Maven. Sandals was not lying when he said he has a thing for goth girls. He really, this is part of his character that I came up with, was that he likes girls that are more bossy than he is. So,
she's aware of the effect she has on people.
I can't.
Yeah. She doesn't deserve Sandals, and I mean that in like a positive way. Like, she didn't do anything wrong.
When I think
She was
about
the MVP.
fiction writing, I'm just like, how do you write thematically? How the fuck does anyone do that? And then this fucking story did it. I'm like, how the fuck? Just like happening live. The fucking mine shaft to the lake being the transition into hell. Everything that happened with Jet's eyes and hat and stuff that were just not things that were designed to go anywhere, and they became these insanely thematic elements. I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
It's the para-idola of symbology.
Yeah,
We are like wired to see metaphors, and then we just start connecting the dots.
Like I think I saw the background artist from Arches in the comments, and he was like, okay, well now I just need to unpack the thematics of Jet's hat and what that means now, because there's it's like a fucking video essay moment. You're like, what the fuck's going on here?
Cardamom is here? Wow.
Yeah, he was in the comments, not the chat.
Absolute stupid throwaway joke. If you zoom in on the Cape Escape default background in Foundry, you can see me hiding an Easter egg of my original version of the viewers, which is this little guy down here. He's very hard to see.
Oh shit!
Hell yeah!
Oh, look at that!
That was there from day one, but then I completely redesigned what the viewers look like.
Where is it?
I was
Cute.
really
It's a cute little
happy.
thing.
I was really happy with that, by the way. When we met them, and
That
this was not
that animation. Oh my god.
that was incredible. I also, I'm not trying to kind of pump myself up here, but like I came up with the idea that they were called the viewers on the fly, and I'm so glad it stuck because it was such a good fucking name. It was
Yeah.
so good. Oh,
I loved it.
Where am I looking? I think I missed it.
At the bottom of the lake, you have to zoom in to see it. There's just a little guy there, but everyone's cursor's on
Little
him.
guy.
Little meow meow.
A gay little meow meow.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was good. But yeah, we had such a good session. This was so good, and I'm so happy we all got to play together. And I hope you all want to keep playing with me and keep playing with Kong, keep playing with Keith. And this was so much fun.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Fully
be
on
so
board.
sad not having Cape Escape every Wednesday.
Tune in next time for the throat launch.
Yeah.
It's not trapped at that. You can do whatever you want. It's extremely funny to me that we do already have a named location that's analogous to the one in Echo. It's absurd.
So